cooperating so much!
Rick, are you working still?
Yeah. Finishing up.
He's like, yes. I'm liking that mustache.
Thanks. I'm trying it now. Figure if I have a mask on all the time.
Right.
See how you feel about it.
I like it.
Yo, what's up, everybody?
Hey.
By show of hands, how many shops, and if you're not a screen printing shop, how many people are hiring right now? By show of hands. Okay, so we've got most, maybe 80% are hiring. All right, and how many are you hiring? One, just one, or two, or let's say more than three? You got one, two?
Just one for now to help not drown right now.
Who said that?
Mark,
Oh yeah.
New Jersey. Yeah, drowning right now with the work out of nowhere. It just piles on. Right when you think you're about to have like a little bit slow week to catch up on a few things, everyone comes at once. It always happens.
All right. I mean, we're in the same boat, and we've been trying to hire. We always hire in early March. We start looking in February and try to get somebody in there by March so that we have an opportunity to start training, And I mean, this year it's just been crazy. We have somebody moving here actually from out of state that I offered a position like 3 weeks ago. He has to relocate and get a house and everything like that. And so that's one.
I was wondering why Randy was acting funny.
Well, I said, hey, you want to come work for,
A real shop?
Yeah, that's right. But the thing is like, I think it's a struggle, not just for screen printing shops, but for everybody, right now, for every industry. And I think a lot of people are talking about it, but what I don't know if they're talking about is how many, by show of hands, are willing to pay more for this new hire than you were willing to pay maybe a year ago.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whoever answered, maybe not. Like, why wouldn't you, knowing like the market and knowing that what I'm experiencing anyway, and what I'm reading is that it's going to take more to have somebody join your team right now because, well, there's just the supply. I mean, there's just not a lot of people that are looking for work. A lot of them are still getting unemployment benefits that are bonused.
Yeah, but what happens when unemployment goes away?
Yeah, but when is that going to go away? Certainly not anytime soon. September 6th is the earliest. And if they extend it, it could be the rest of the year, right? And so what are we going to do this entire year? And like, we're hurting. I would hire 3 people tomorrow, and so we have our team, but it seems like there's always somebody missing. It's kind of how it goes, right? Somebody has a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment or a death in the family or whatever.
Yeah. That many
There's
deaths.
always something.
There actually, well, there are, it's like, I can't explain it. It happens, but it's a struggle right now, and we're feeling it. It's hard, and that stresses everybody out, So everybody's sort of, stretched a little too thin, and what happens at a certain point. And so, I'm putting in extra hours and trying to figure it out. And so what I'm hearing anyway is that people are willing to pay. I'm willing to pay more, and I know a lot of other shops are willing to pay more. And if I start somebody higher, then what does that mean to everybody else? Is that fair? Let's say I have somebody that's operating a press for 5 years, and I'm going to start somebody that at a similar pay. Well, they better have really good experience.
That's what sucks, is hiring somebody in that you think is really good, but you've had people there for a while that made that same pay that you're willing to give a brand new person.
Right.
Yeah, we're having that. So I need to hire people, but I'm holding off as long as I can. We are stretched way too thin right now, but we're getting by. But so the last year, we increased all of our employees' wages just to kind of reassure that we could keep them. Mainly our, because they ended up being kind of our key people, and we didn't want to lose them. It's very competitive out there right now. So yeah, now we're okay, when we hire you know, they're a little bit higher than they were. So that helps a little bit, but it's like, it's kind of madness, especially in our area. Our area is very touristy and sought after, I guess, as far as real estate. And so we have like tons of people moving in with big money. And I mean, it's really hard to keep up, basically.
So you're saying like the cost of living is going up. I mean, just
Tremendous. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's always been expensive here, but it's like getting really crazy. And, you know, I've noticed like our homeless population has drastically increased over the last year. And I think a lot of it is just, we don't have any like low income housing anymore. It's just crazy. You can't get anything.
There's always a rule of thumb too when it comes to either hiring, promoting, or as an employee being promoted, is that you never speak about your salary or the salaries that you give. Now, I don't know, obviously people talk, but if you were hiring someone, you're saying hiring someone at a higher wage from the get-go, I mean, you either discuss it with them, not to speak, you know, be nonchalant about it, but no one should talk about what each other get paid. So
It never happens though.
People will.
I know it'll never
always do.
happen. Yeah,
They will
They
come
always
home
do.
and say,
They always do, and then
Drink
as
at a
soon as
bar
they
together.
do, it's gonna suck because
What about if
everybody's gonna be pissed.
the employee that you brought in, I don't know, you're saying they're coming from out of state, that might be a higher position or whatnot, but that might maybe being at a high position like that comes with responsibility when it comes to helping the business out at this time, not to say anything.
The one coming
Not
from
you
out
don't
of
want to
state,
lie, but
the one coming in from out of state is has 9 years on press. He's going to be a press operator, and I offered him what like a current press operators are making. Basically, it's really close, and so I mean he took it with full benefits and everything. I'm not really concerned about him because it's really justified, right? I mean, he has 9 years on press and
9 years, yeah.
yeah, and not just on press, but also other parts of the shop. He's not going to be a production manager or anything, just pretty experienced guy, but I didn't hire it based on his experience, as I read and learned in our book. It's more about character too. I always have done that. Really, I've always preached that I hire positivity. I mean, I don't care if you're awesome printer, if you're an asshole, then you're not going to work out at our shop. And so I've always looked for somebody that I liked what he said once about hiring, that you could be friends with, and that has, hiring good people, not just talented people, but good people, because, that is a reflection of your company, is who's working for you. And so, I mean, he's from what I can tell, it's so hard, right? I mean, you meet him a few times and then you go correspond back and forth out of state through emails. And I'm assuming he's a good dude, but he could be a total fucking piece of shit, and he's gone in a week or something, and I'm wrong, but I'm optimistic about it. And I mean, well, there's nobody else, it's crazy. Like, we had this company closed down. It's about 15 minutes from us. They're closing down. They're shutting doors in about 60 days. And they contacted me and said, hey, I have a bunch of production artists, and kind of they listed off who's being let go. And, do I have any openings? And I said, yeah. So I went over there and met with them, and I looked at an embroidery machine even. And then out of all those people that she said, hey, Shirkong has openings, only one person sent me a resume. That doesn't mean that they're going to, like, if I gave them a job proposal, that doesn't mean that they're going to accept it. But only one person contacted me out of all those. I guess maybe they're going to go on unemployment, they're getting laid off. So, which I can appreciate, they've been working through this time, and maybe they want a change of career or who knows what. But I mean, it's just really tough. I'm in a Slack group, and I was reading some of these guys and girls, I guess too, their issues with hiring, and they're going to recruiters, and they're actually in bidding wars at times. They're like, okay, we'll pay this or whatever, and the person accepts a different position for more money. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's really. I was just talking. I use a a staffing agency most of the time. And I was just talking to him the other day, and he's like, he's like, I've spent the most money I've ever spent on, recruitments and just trying to get people. And I said, well, I'm going to need someone this summer, and he's like, well, plan for at least 7 weeks for me to find you somebody. And I'm like, oh my God. And then, what am I going to get? Like, I'm not like I'm going to have my choice probably from a bunch of candidates. It's going to be interesting. But I agree with the book too, what you said, Andy, that hire like people that you would want to hang out with. I haven't really done that in the past much, and it backfired on me. And I guess I was slow to realizing that concept, but definitely you have to like have something in common with the people that you're with day in and day out for hours.
I mean, Dylan he's getting ready to chime in. You're speaking his language.
I was so
Got
close.
something to say about that?
Well, the funny thing is I had this discussion today with Tyler and stuff because they were here and we were talking about processes and all that other stuff. And he's like, I think I have a people problem, not a like an actual problem at the shop. It's just more of a people issue. And I told him, I was like, well, the problem is that you need a new hire, and then you put out that you're hiring, and then you get, say, 100 people apply. Well, 50 people right off the bat are like soccer moms, like single moms that are like 50 something years old. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is our language here at the shop probably wouldn't fit with that lady, because I would yell to Randy and be like, hey, you fucking piece of shit. Like, can you do this for me? But that's like in love, that's like how I talk to him. That's how things happen. And it was funny too, because today I was in my office with the door shut ordering shirts, and we had the front door of the offices open. And this kid that used to work here makes like e-bikes now, like the electric bikes. And he rode by, we heard him coming, and right before he got to the door, he just yelled like, fuck you, Dylan, and like kept going. And everybody in here was like, did he say hello, Dylan, or fuck you, Dylan? And everybody was like, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Like, it's just how we talk to each other. So I know that's not like PC, and that's not like, it's kind of frowned upon these days, but like realistically, everybody here is all like, I don't want to say it's like a culture, but it's just everybody here is just a certain way. And we all like would do anything for each other. And out of work, we would all help each other move, or we would go to dinner together or hang out or whatever. And that's not like a requirement, but when you're a close knit company that spends, 8 to 14 hours a day with each other, 5 days a week, you kind of want that mentality with each other. So hiring someone is not only just trying to find somebody for a position, but trying to find somebody who fits your family. So it's extra tough for me, I feel like.
Does they have to speak your language?
Yeah. They have to be ultra vulgar in order to work here.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, it's your shop and everybody's happy there, and it is maybe part of your culture, but I mean, I'm usually the one cussing around the shop and then apologizing because I'm like, oh, sorry if I offended you.
Yeah. I mean, we try to censor ourselves, but it's just one of those things. It's like, I don't know, it's like military or garage talk. You know what I mean?
I was just about to say that. You gotta look at the resume. If it says any military experience, you're good to
they'll
go.
fit in, right.
Yeah, because that's just how we speak.
That's like why we're terrified to have a third person here, because we're like, what if we don't like them? They're going to be, it's not like, oh, there's 6, 10, 12 people here. You can kind of get away from them. They're going to be there all the time. Right. What if we don't get along with you? I don't want to be like, hey, sorry, you do great work, but I just don't want to be around you. Sorry.
Right. Well, it's the same thing. Like there's these massive shops that have, like 30 autos and stuff. And like, they don't have the luxury of like hiring people they like, but they have a lot of turnover because they're just hiring workers. You know what I mean? Like they expect you to just come in, be quiet, do their job, go home.
Clock in, clock out.
But I feel like if you have people there that want to be there because they like going there and being with their friends, and they still get a lot of work done, but they can talk to each other and, help each other out. It's half of it, I feel like, is going to work for a paycheck. And the other half is I like going to work because this is my career.
I think that's part of being a leader. It's like, I don't know. I agree with you. There's probably some pretty large shops that are just like that. You clock in and it's more just like, hey, I'm running out the clock, and at 5 I'm out of here or whatever. At the first chance I get, I'm out of here. But I think there's also other shops that are large, or if not just screen printing shops, but companies, and they pull it off. It takes, I've worked at it for lots of years, just like you, and curating like who works well within that team. And the minute there's always a few, I guess, or a couple that don't work as well within the team, but for the most part anyway, I think that if they don't fit, they either leave, or I terminate them. It's so until
like murder.
Yeah. No, not yet. Almost. And so I think that's part of just part of it, like that's part of it, is that as you hire and you've worked with somebody for a while, and like you said, Rick, like they're going to be with you. I think we even talked about that with you on your episode. How are you going to go with this person on an install or something like that? And you don't get along with them, but
the thing is like you spend more
car ride.
You spend more time with these people at work than I do like at home with my family. You know what I mean? I'm here more. So it's like, I kind of need people that I want to be with all day long.
But I think if you lead your company, kind of what he said in his book too, if you're leading your company with, kind of the values that you have, then you attract that sort of person. And
right. Low life pieces of shit that want to work.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's what's on my resume. Like, are you kind of a piece of shit in real life? All right, we're friends.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's funny, but it's also not exactly true, because that even though you may, fuck around a lot and joke around a lot, that those guys, they care and they show up reliable and responsible, and you've known them for a long time. And so you do you in your way, in your Dylan way. You're much like the CEO of Disney here.
I'm exactly like Bob Iger. I'm glad you saw that too. I didn't want to say that because that would make me sound conceited. Mm-hmm. But from the half of the book I read, I feel like I'm just like him.
That's a good question that we have every meeting. Did you guys enjoy the book this time? So I think the last one, not a lot of people got through all of it.
I skipped the last one and read this one a month ago.
I enjoyed this one. I did. I mean, it reminded me of Shoe Dog. Anybody read that?
Yeah, that's good.
Nike.
I want to.
That was good, right? He's a good storyteller, and you constantly want to keep going. And with this book, it was kind of the same vibe, but more like really straightforward. Like he was either acquiring something or hiring somebody. Like the whole time, it was just the next step. And, he like jumped from when he was a kid to where he was already like 40, but I thought it was pretty good, even though it was really strictly business other than Shoe Dog. But I enjoyed this one. I flew through it. Definitely a good pick this month.
I had a really crazy month and I didn't have a ton of time to like even listen to a book or anything like that. And I got, like I said, about halfway through with it. But this is one of the things, like even after this is over, like we obviously right now we're doing it, but like I still am going to finish it. Like, the last book I did half, and I was like, I'm not going back and reading the rest of that. But I'm gonna finish this one. Like, I'm gonna continue it to get it done because I do like it a lot. I feel like even the prologue alone was like inspiring.
Oh yeah, that was real, man. That was real. That was like seeing a side of business or being in that position that can come. That's like really difficult. You might have to deal with, especially in the scale of that company.
Yeah.
But you got to read the end. But even in the end, that the appendix, the lessons to lead by, if you look in the back,
Good
he
stuff.
just bullet points all the good stuff right there, man. Even if you like one day just you don't know what to do, or your leadership is lacking in your sense, maybe you think you dropped the ball when talking to somebody, you just can go through that and maybe gain back wisdom you may have dropped over, a certain amount of time.
Yeah, no,
Pretty
for
good.
sure. I also thought the beginning when he was talking about the shooting and how that dude originally wanted to shoot up Disney. I was like, that's crazy. Cause I was just there. I went last year in March and I went this year in March, and I couldn't imagine walking into that place and knowing some dude just walked into Magic Kingdom and was like, I'm ready to murder anybody who's here.
It was going to be downtown Disney, I think he said.
Yeah.
At the House of Blues.
At the club, right? Yeah, the House of Blues.
Yeah.
Yeah, he Googled nightclubs, and the first one was under construction or something, or closed. And so the second one was, that one, the one that ended up being, sucks, man.
And then right after that was that kid in the alligator.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, we went to Disney a week after that happened too. And they had signs everywhere, with alligators on them, not to go near the water.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is when we stay at those resorts, you see that as soon as he said movie night on the grass, I was like, yeah, we see those all the time.
Oh yeah.
And then they were like, yeah, the one kid was just playing and went down by the water. And I was like, dude, I could not imagine that. Going to Disney with your family and then your kid gets eaten by an alligator. It's insane. What do you do as a business owner too? Like him, not owner, but CEO. It's just oh shit. You guys need to go put some signs up.
All you can do.
Right. What else can you do?
Accountable. He was accountable for it, and he reached out. I mean, what else can you do but sit there and just try to do your best not to ever let it happen again?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's something I really liked about this book too, because I feel like this was a combination of what the last book and even Never Split the Difference should have been in terms of leadership and negotiation, where in that case where he just he didn't try to lawyer up and say the right thing. He owned it, and he called the parents, the family, and he tried to make it right and just be real with them. Whereas I feel like the Never Split the Difference mentality would be oh, let's negotiate this to make it their fault where they didn't read a sign and we're not liable kind of thing. So just the humanness that he showed in that scenario was really cool. Great way to start the book.
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah, according to Never Split the Difference, he probably just should have started with a free year at Disney,
Yeah.
You want to come back to the space?
Come on back. Yeah.
It seems like you're upset because Kyle was eaten by an alligator.
Yeah.
You just got to label it.
Mm.
Seems like he kind of maintained that through the course of his entire career. He was always very transparent and honest. He never tried to tell anybody what they thought they wanted to hear. He was honest about it the whole way through. And I didn't make it past Star Wars. I didn't quite finish, but he did admit with Star Wars that he messed up with George because he didn't forewarn him that he wasn't going to use his story. And so that caught George off guard in front of, I guess, the board. And he should have contacted him beforehand to give him a heads up. But I don't know. He seemed like a very just genuine person.
I feel like that's super important, in business. Just kind of with my employees, I've said this a couple times, but being a tight knit family and what we're doing. Anytime I'd make any decision with anything, I kind of talk to everybody and tell them in reality. I don't have to go into financials too much, but just tell them, get their opinion, and everybody gets a say kind of thing, and weigh every option and tell them what's happening with the business. And I feel like everybody's more involved and more into it because they know what's happening, and things don't just get sprung on everybody. It's kind of if we're slow, everybody knows we're slow. If we're slammed, then you just tell them the realities of what's happening. And then they're I'll be ready to leave and go home at 5:30. And they're like, no, we're going to stay till 8, or, oh, we're planning on working this Saturday. Like, I don't have to say, hey, I need you guys to work Saturday. They're usually like already on it. Like, oh, we're going to work Saturday and a little bit of Sunday morning. So they're just as into it as I am.
Yeah, your guys aren't like, it's not like they work for you. It's not like they're employees, man. You guys are a team.
Yeah.
You built a team. You built a company, but you actually built a team to accomplish screen prints and stuff.
Right.
That's good, man. Still good.
Well, they have to work on Saturdays and Sundays because they're playing, Mortal Kombat during the normal week.
Whatever. Shit happens.
1995 Mortal Kombat over 2021. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It was okay.
Only the action was good. That's how I feel about.
There was a quote that he had that I thought was really good, and it was the relentless pursuit of perfection. This doesn't mean perfectionism at all costs, but it does mean refusal to accept mediocrity or make excuses for something being good enough. If you believe something can be made better, put in effort to do it. If you are in business of making things, be the business of making things great. Yep. I thought that was just kind of like with all of us and printers and stuff, it's kind of like, if we're going to do it, let's make like the best quality badass prints we can make and not just try to like pump shit out all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our competitors can pump out. I mean, we have some, there's shops around all of us, right? And it's like, sometimes I have to talk our customers off the ledge because they went there first, and then they come to me, and then I got to educate them and reassure them that that's not going to happen to them again. And not everybody puts the same kind of effort in, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to ask them, like, you paid for this?
Yeah. I also thought it was funny that he went to Ithaca College and was like a weatherman in Ithaca, because that's pretty much where I am. Like, Ithaca is like 10 minutes away. So it's funny that he was here. Like, I was obviously super young, but he was here and did stuff.
I think we should all email him and ask if we can print their shit, Seems like they get a lot of stuff printed, and I can say, look, I just read your book. It was great. We had a book club, and we all want to print your stuff now.
You should feel obligated to print with me because I read your book.
That's right.
Then you got to print those back prints that go from like the elbow across the shoulders to the other elbow.
Has anybody here done any work for Disney at all?
So, we do, but it's not for them. I mean, people get like Mickey Mouse stuff like all the time for their,
So I did a bunch of artwork for them way back in the day, but it was through like a company, you know what I mean? Like, so this company would put stuff together and then they'd like sell it to Disney. It is absolute insanity working for Disney. Like, I've never like working with like doing the Mickey Mouse stuff, any of that. Like, it's so crazy. All of the different like checks and things that you have to go through. I think we went through like 6 levels of revision and they just killed it anyhow. But it's just nuts. Everything they do. It's crazy.
I've seen this stuff get printed. There's a huge company, probably like 6 or 7 years back. It's down the road from me, called Image. They're a contractor. They have no, they're not a team. They're one of the ones that just they hire people and you're there. And that's it. But I remember I was on the fire department in town, and they had some type of I think it was just like a smoke detection or whatnot. So we went in there, and it's the first time I think I ever saw autos and like just ink thrown on walls and just like crap everywhere. And what they had on press was just like this slapstick Disney Mickey Mouse right there. And that was the first time I ever saw. I never knew what the hell was going on there, and I'll tell you what, even at that time, like when I wasn't printing, it still looked like a terrible print of what they were doing, because they were pumping out probably 10,000, 20,000. It was insane, but I've seen it done. So
yeah, I had that mindset of being a screen printer and being in the business or whatever. And you go to Disney, and the kids and my wife are like walking around doing their thing, like completely oblivious. And I'm that guy that's like a creeper, like feeling every shirt, like going to the kids. It's like when you go to the mall with your family and you go to like fucking Claire's or something and you're like feeling the shirts on the wall. They're like, what is this creeper doing in here? But like just looking at the amount, like the mass amount of merch at like Disney alone, like every section and basically every ride has a fucking gift shop with all custom merch, like 15 to 20 designs or more in each one. And it's just crazy. Like I would love to go and get a behind the scenes of, like, I would pay for my family to go do Disney and I would totally be fine and happy with seeing the merch management department at Disney. They're like, all right, you guys go ride rides. I'm just going to sit here and look at this, like how they make this happen.
Well, but they license it all out. It's all licensed. So like I have a friend who her husband does that for Disney, like one of the parks. They license that stuff and they compete bids and everything. They don't have, I mean, they have like a billion printers, but it's like licensed stuff, man. And all their artwork, all the different stuff that comes through it, all different companies. So it's like an artwork company. Like,
right, but there has to be like a division there that's just in charge of it. That's what I'm saying. I want to go there.
Out of control, right?
I want to go there and be like, show me your workflow. Like, how are you managing this all?
When
supply drops and golf carts.
When Dylan and I were in Chicago, was it last week? I don't know. Time is
2 weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago. And we went to M&R and they're developing a couple of new pieces of equipment. And one of the person that is on this one piece of equipment came from Nike, and she was there for, I don't know, like 15 years or something like that. And like you were saying, Mark, that so at M&R right now, they have a room because they have to test shirts once they're done. And so in other words, they have to do it. Nike has this, Dylan, what was it? 20 washings, 20 dries simulator.
Yeah.
And so they have this machine that does it.
They have like a $5,000 washing machine that you just throw it in.
They call it the Mealy or something like that.
Yeah. Wow. It simulates like 10 washes. So it like beats the shit out of it while it's washing it.
But Nike has and so I'm just imagining, Disney, I'm sure whoever they're licensing to or whatever the deal is, they have a 20 wash, 20 dry test. The shirt has to pass that, standard. And can you imagine if you did that to shirts coming off the dryer like today at our shop, if you went and 20 wash, 20 dry and see what it looks like? I mean, I'm hoping it's okay, but I've never personally, people don't come back and say, hey, my shit's washing out or anything. I mean, we're assuming we do a stretch test all the time, at the end of the dry, beyond just temp test and checking the dryers, we do a stretch test. But can you like imagine doing a 20 wash test just to see what the shirt looks like or the print looks like at the end, and we probably should.
Anytime we do like a new style print or we're trying something, I always wash it a bunch of times over the weekend, but I'll throw it in with like jeans or like something I know is going to kind of beat it up. But yeah, I've definitely had print styles before where we're trying new things and it doesn't wash out really well. And then we have to do it all over again.
Yeah. There's a shirt we print, like shop shirts. We haven't, it seems like in a year, probably since COVID. Chad, that shirt that you came up with, you and maybe Nathan or Brandon, I can't remember who it was, and it has the
Thixotropic shirt. Yeah.
But that is like a hugely popular shirt at our shop, and people have probably washed that 100 times and worn. I see it all the time, and it holds up well. So I hope it's working.
Yeah.
If it's not, it's meant to be vintage.
I mean, how many times have you guys had like a guy walk in that you did 20 shirts for, and they are, they take down, what's that called when you, not tree trimming, but I don't know. But it was this customer, and he got the shirts. He came back in like 3 weeks, and it looked like he dragged them behind his truck for, 1,000 miles. And he's like, hey, I've got, warm to work, and I've got they're coming apart a little bit. And I'm thinking like they're a $2 t-shirt. You bought Gildan 5,000s or 2,000s or something, and you went and chopped down trees in them. But I don't know. Should I have brought up that it survived the wash?
What he was doing is he cut off all the limbs and got to the top and just wrote it down like this.
Yeah.
Fire pole.
All right. Well,
I've only had one shirt I've seen that I printed that used white. I used a certain white ink one time, and I did about 50 of them. And I guess one of the kids wore them to the police academy that he was going to. Actually, it was the fire academy, and it was completely gone. It was just remnants left of the white ink on front and back. And I was so embarrassed that I had to go up to him and ask his entire life story from the day he got that shirt to like right now, what happened. So needless to say, I threw that ink out and never used it again. It didn't happen to any other shirt, just that one guy who went and he probably washed it every single day for like 6 months because he said it was his favorite shirt to wear. So I've seen it one time happen to me.
We just did that episode with Ciano Inc. or whatever, and he was talking about the first time he did numbers. And he went to the game for the jerseys that he used, and he said he saw the one guy run out and the number 1 was like flapping in the breeze behind the guy, like not sticking to the shirt. And then he saw throughout the game like 4 other players where their numbers were like flapping behind them. And I was like, I would have melted into the stands. Like
that happened to us. We had football jerseys, and the top yoke was nylon and the body was polyester, and we had no idea. And so the names were like literally falling off of that top yoke because you have to have certain vinyl to stick with nylon. And so in the middle of the game, the kids are like, their names are like flapping behind their back. It was awful. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And all the parents are looking at you too, like, oh, that's the shirt person.
That's the one who did it.
It sucks. Yeah. So bad. So you guys tell me about the second half of the book.
He just takes over the world basically and takes everything and
he
buys
bought
it up
everything.
And retires. He bought everything.
Yeah, he went to Disney World and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He went.
Yeah.
I pretty much left off where he was just about to take over as CEO. So
a lot happened after that.
Missed out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't look at me to give you info on the rest of the book right now because I'm done. I'm there now.
I'll tell you what. I now know why I got ESPN with Hulu and Hulu with ESPN and Disney Plus when they sign you up now because Disney owns all of it. All of it. He owns Fox. That's why Simpsons is on Disney Plus. Like, I learned all that from this book. So
the crazy thing is how he bought Marvel without knowing anything about it. Like he functionally, like I'm a huge comic book fan and he's sitting there saying like, I didn't even know what I was getting, but I was just going to go after because there was a bunch of characters. He just went, I mean, he bought Marvel and Star Wars. I really, that's his legacy. That's why we're reading a book about this guy and why we know his name is because of, the acquisitions of Marvel and Star Wars. Like it's,
oh yeah.
I think
what else is there?
And Pixar too.
Well, yeah.
Disney needs to buy Spawn.
Yeah. Hey, Todd McFarlane's going to hold out. He's going to, he's creating his own. Yeah, baby.
I don't know.
Yeah, did that.
He actually, rekindled the relationship with the Pixar guy and actually got that.
Steve Jobs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The previous guy in charge was
Michael Eisenberg.
Michael Eisner.
Yeah.
Eisner.
Yeah.
Eisner.
He did not have a good relationship with Pixar, and so he rekindled that. And
did he
back.
show up with tight jeans and a black turtleneck tucked in?
He did.
Probably. He did. Yeah.
He actually
He's like, oh, you wear this too?
Yeah, Dylan. He became.
That was a good part about the book.
I guess this is a spoiler, but I mean, he became pretty good friends with Steve. And I mean, there was one time, I don't know why, maybe
you guys could literally make anything up right now and be like, oh, all right.
I'm good.
I mean, there was one.
Jobs for that.
I think
So
that relationship.
He invented the iPod.
Yeah.
Go ahead. His
I
relationship.
don't even know what I'm saying at this point. So it doesn't matter.
This is like the regular episode now where I just say stuff and I fuck your train of thought up.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
I like the another thing, the innovate or die. That's pretty relevant right now for our shop, especially. So, how about anybody else? Does that resonate with anyone else?
I think that's true for everyone.
I like to live in the past.
Rotary phones.
I think if you're not constantly evolving, then your business eventually is just gonna die off. There's a couple here around us, and it's, they've just never made any changes to what they're doing, and it's just like this slow death. They just haven't evolved at all.
Who said rotary phone? Who was that said that? Yeah. I used to, how if you have an iPhone, when you have it, you set it up, and then your email, it says, this email was sent from your rotary or from your iPhone. Well, I changed mine to rotary phone for like the first 10 years I had it or whatever. And people always comment, it's like, oh, that's pretty funny. Well, Joanne still says this message was sent from my iPhone. Okay, hey, you can change that. And she's like, what? I don't know. And she had no idea. So we just changed her signature like 2 weeks ago. She had no idea. Oh, she hasn't. We started to change it, and she still has it. So if you get an email from her, it says sent from my iPhone.
Tell Joanne to get in here. What's she doing? She's standing off to the side.
She didn't read the book, but she probably knows more about it than you. So she could sit here. She just got home.
I like getting emails that say at AOL.com, and I'm like, here we go. I got a lot of things to explain to him.
That's my dad. My dad still has that AOL.com.
My wife does.
Hey, I still have my AOL. I have multiple emails, but I'm holding on to that AOL for as long as I can until they completely are gone.
Yeah, the CDs or the floppy disk still?
The trials. Yeah.
Dude, my dad went from fucking, when we were kids, it was trial disc to trial disc to trial disc.
Yep.
And it was funny because at one point we had a whole stack of the old ones, and I just threw them around the house, and I call them chucking discs, and I would just like throw them at people. Like I was like Gambit with cards.
That was the way. Remember, the PlayStation used to come out with the demos, man. That was the best.
Mm-hmm.
You used to get to the magazine, you get the PlayStation, have all the demos.
Dude, I could play the shit out of all the first levels of all the games because of all the demo discs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So what else did this guy do?
I got something for you guys. Oh, I got something for you guys. It's not about the book, this book, but I wanted to bring it before I forget, because I will forget. But I read this like 4 or 5 years ago when I would start to like study business and do all that. Don't make this one of the books of the book club, because it's not. It's very, it's like school, but it's called, I don't know if you've ever seen it, The Personal MBA.
It sounds very good.
It's good. It's basically this guy telling you everything that you would learn to go get an MBA, and don't go waste your money. Like everything's right here. Everything's outdated, but you can learn everything from here. And it just helps you a lot. Not saying don't go to college, not saying don't do this, don't do that. But this is a hell of a book if you just need it just to have in your library.
Andy, what are you going to do now? Because that was the book we were going to pick for next.
Get the hell out of here. No one would finish it. It would take forever.
I think we're just going to do encyclopedias from here on out.
Yeah, I started to look through books that, we could read for the next one. And there's some pretty good ones I have now, like just already here, but they're so chunky, and it seems like it's hard enough. Like this book right here, which by the way, I had the big print version, and which was really convenient, but it was hard enough reading this book, and this was easy, all things considered, really. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to this book. I think it was easy to read. It was an easy read compared to like the last one for sure. And so I don't know, like I wanted to find something that's like that, because we're all so busy. In fact, we're busier now than we were in January and February and March. And so how are we going to still pull this off where we actually, do read the book or listen to the book, whatever it is.
It's all right. We'll do half a book and then we'll finish it later.
I don't know how book clubs work, and so are we supposed to be doing something like every...
I wish you would have ended the conversation right there. I don't know how book clubs work.
Yeah, no idea. I don't think we do, because this is cool. And I love like meeting up here and talking about this book and other things too, because it doesn't have to be.
I think we need wine and we need to bitch about things.
Isn't that what people do? About ice bath.
Right.
Ice bath.
I feel like it's good. I just feel like we should maybe on our end, like talk about it more, or pick a book, like maybe pick like 3 or 4 books and have everybody vote on it and make sure it's a book that everybody wants to read. But other than that, I mean, I love having just you, like 10, 12 people, because it's the people who want to keep doing it. Like, I don't want a bunch of randos in here every time. So,
I mean, if you had 50 people in here in one meeting, it'd be kind of chaos.
Right. It would be like, oh, I'll let you finish. No, you go ahead.
Yeah.
I think if you guys, I mean, the regulars that are in here and Andy and me, I mean, it's really hard for me to read because I can't read. But like, if you guys are going through a book or reading a book or, doing the audio, if you post once in a while that you're working on the book and tell people to come be a part of it or whatever, that would help too. So
anytime anytime you guys share something, it's like, it's perfect.
I shared my really weird book in Andy. It was the Andy edition of this book when I first got it.
I remember that.
That was the day that I ordered shirt show stuff from you guys, which, hey, I want some update merch stickers thrown in with the next one.
I'll work on it.
I'll send it to you guys. Yeah, work on it. I'm sure you're not busy enough. I was just trying to put something. I mean, it's hard. Come up with some like content like that sometimes. But we could try harder just to help out. But I really enjoy what we got going on.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's good to just... I like doing the live thing where we're all, even if it's not about the book, and we're all just talking to each other about business and our month and what's going on.
Yeah.
It's nice to just get together with some people who it's our monthly counseling.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I was in college, I'm so different now than when I was in college, because when I was in college, I would have kind of acted like Dylan a little bit. I think I would have started this book this morning and then gotten however far I got.
I started it like 4 days ago, Dick.
Dylan, whatever. Everybody fucking knows. You don't have to act like anything. We're okay with that. But the point I'm trying to make is that, and I'm sorry I used you as an example.
No, you're not.
Is that in college, I would have absolutely started this morning, but now, like, I literally started that book, the day after, like, our last one, and I've read it during like the past 30 days, and so, a chapter here and chapter there, and I think what I should have been doing is all along when there's a like a quote or something like that, just share it, and that would and if not in efforts to try and get more people to this, because I agree with you. I like the intimacy of just, us hanging here, and we can all chime in whenever we want. There's not 50 people, but just, hey, just share this stuff. And so maybe that would inspire and motivate Dylan or whoever else to, like,
or whoever else
start sooner, or just read the book. And they don't even have to come to book club. Just read the book, because it's a healthy thing to do. Part of what he did when he was a kid, and part of the reason for his success, and then he went and took his dad out and said, I want to thank you for being such a great dad and being a great parent, is that he had all those books there, and he read all those books, and he read a ton of books. And so I thought that was sort of a cool coincidence.
What was everybody's favorite takeaway from this whole book, so I can look forward to what I'm missing out on?
Integrity. That man had integrity, man. He really did. He was very, very honest and straightforward, and that's the way you should be with your employees, people you put in place. He even said that even when he had to let someone go, the minute they would walk in the office, he didn't small talk them. he said, this is going to be hard for you and me. And then he would go into it, and he would, they might be upset when they leave, but he was always straightforward, and that's how you should be. You should never dance around anything.
Anybody,
your team, your employees, your family, anything like that.
did everybody see Moneyball?
I was just thinking that when he was talking about that, when he tells them just to be direct and be like, here, we're trading you, and here, talk to like HR, and then like he walks out the door.
Okay. He basically sits down. He's like, that's it. We're letting you go.
Right.
Straight to it. And like, it's like, just like you said, there's no sugarcoating it, and just goes direct.
Has anybody fired anybody like that?
Yeah, my old job, I had to just do it straightforward.
I have never fired anybody in a good way. I am so bad at that.
So awkward. How are you good at it? That's not a good thing either, because then that means you practice a lot.
True.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I've terminated a lot of people, and I think that this, it's not because maybe it's my fault in bad hiring, but sometimes I have to. And I made the mistake once because he said, always give them a reason, and I remember one time I didn't, and they're like, oh, let's just tell me why. And I didn't. And I should have. And I remember telling myself.
Did you say it's not you, it's me?
I did. That was my answer.
I've only ever had to fire one person, and I had to fire him twice.
Well, that's because you got back together with them, and you're not supposed to ever do that. I know, right?
I know.
Was it easier the second time around?
It was easier because
better.
No, not really. Not really.
I would say that's my takeaway also, but probably because that's where I need to improve the most. I like crumble with people. I don't like hiring, and I don't like firing. I don't like any part of it. So
I feel like most of us just have that. Most of us, like as business owners, like have that like fear of letting people down, and whatever. And it's like we look at them the same way as like if we were in their shoes of like how we would feel, and it immediately makes us feel like shit to have to tell them they don't work here anymore, or they have to find a place to get money to feed their family or whatever they're doing. It is nice when it's just some bullshit kid that lives at home with his mom, and it's like, just go home, go back and live with your mom. But if it's somebody who has like a wife and kid and stuff, it's got to be rough.
You guys ever had the worry of somebody with a lawsuit after firing them? Like wrongful termination?
I just had that.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
Who said that?
I did. I had this lady who I let her go. She was only there for a month. It was just one of those, had a mask on for the interview where she showed up, and it was she was the perfect hire. And then day 2 on the job, it was like, who is this separate person that just came in here? And she was threatening lawsuits, and she's like, my lawyer's sending you a letter today. Like, if you don't do XXX, like by this time. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, where is this even coming from? The minute somebody says lawyer or lawsuit, like I just shrivel up into a ball. I'm like, oh my God, take whatever you want from me. Just have it.
That's awful. Oh my gosh.
Awful.
I like it better when people quit, and they quit in like a crazy way, like throwing spray tack cans in the dryer or something.
No. I only fired one person that I did not feel bad about, and I was so mad because I finally figured out what he'd been doing for weeks, and he was switching his computer over to incognito mode and playing World of Warcraft pretty much all day.
Is it Dylan?
That's a baller.
Oh, I was mad. I'm like, you basically were stealing from me, and you're letting your teammates pick up your slack, World
of Warcraft is an addiction, man.
Mad.
Like heroin for people.
Well, again, thanks for doing book club with us again, guys. What were we talking about before this started, Andy? How are we going to pick the next one? Are we going to let them pick?
Send us your submissions. Yeah. Give us some ideas, and then
I think that's what we should do is tomorrow put out a thing saying, give us ideas for the next book. And then if we get multiples of the same one, then we can do a vote on like the top 2.
Yeah. we'll.
How long are you gonna wait?
And then
Like,
it's your
so we can have,
guys'
like,
fault if
a
it sucks.
Just washing your hands of it.
One of our regular book club members, Amy.
Yeah, I was just going to
Red Bear,
say.
She messaged us earlier and says, I have to miss book club tonight to see my mom. I know you guys will me so much and my biting commentaries.
miss her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I figured maybe she was getting ready for tomorrow's big day because she like on the board for
I don't know.
The digital experience with Bella Canvas.
She's on the board for everything.
I know. How does she have time for that?
Hats off to her.
It's amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, keep a lookout for that, guys. I guess we'll put it on Instagram and what we're gonna do. So.
I'll put it up right now. I'll put it on the story and just so you guys send in some ideas.
Well, thanks, guys. You have a good rest of your night. It's almost 10 o'clock here, so I'm gonna go home and crash probably.
Yeah, and good luck with your hiring. Putting positive vibes up there in the world that you'll find somebody because I don't know, it's not good.
If you can just figure out who Andy's hiring and outbid, I'll help with that.
All right, see you guys.
All right, see ya.
All right. Bye.